Ever since Marv Weisbord issued the call in the 90s to get the whole system in the room, practitioners have been experimenting with large group interventions in response to transformation. One of the most impactful developments is the Appreciative Inquiry or AI Summit Room methodology. As a large group process, the AI Summit has advanced many positive change initiatives and transformations with great success, including British Airways, Red Cross, US Navy, Coca Cola, Johnson & Johnson, Apple, and even the United Nations. I personally have had the privilege of working with over 50 organizations and communities in Australia, the UK, the US, and Southeast Asia over a number of years now to facilitate AI summits. From a mushroom farm in Australia with 50 people in the room to the city of Manchester in the UK with over 500 people in the room at Old Trafford Cricket Ground to reimagine health. I never cease to be amazed at the power of these events and how easy change management becomes when everyone buys into the future because they have helped to create the change. An effective way for an organization to be introduced to the summit room is a masterclass session with an enterprise's leaders to unpack appreciative inquiry, or what we actually call it AI, and to design a pilot summit room event to come out from that experience. The CEO or a C-level executive is the sponsor for AI. This is really important because the summit rooms engage the organization or a representative group across the organization as change makers to co-design the future state of that organization. AI summits link to an enterprise's core business vision and strategy, including how we deploy the new tech. Everyone in the room is a change maker. At the heart of AI is the shift from fixing problems and weaknesses to looking for possibilities and innovation by identifying the very best, i.e. our strengths as an organization. We identify the best, why the best is the best, and then we ask how can our best become the norm and reconfigured into designing our future supported by the new tech. Innovation is the reconfiguration of strengths. We take the leadership masterclass through a series of exercises to reframe a typical problem to an affirmative topic. For example, a problem might be that our staff turnover is high. Let's conduct exit interviews to find out why people are leaving. Instead, we flip that and we say, why not go to our people and ask them, when have you felt most alive and thriving in your work here? What was the one time you went home feeling that your contribution made a difference? You learn nothing about contribution from studying why someone is leaving. And then you ask, imagine, dream, if you felt alive in your work for most of the time. Describe the experience, describe the future story. Then let's work together to make that happen. I recently worked with an Australian health authority to design a summit room event. The adaptive challenge was declining community health and a focus on clinical care, not primary prevention. In other words, the focus of the money was on when the health system breaks down. But as we did the reframing exercise, something amazing happened. The people in the room realized that the opportunity was not to focus on clinical care or even primary prevention, but to reimagine vibrant community living, of which health was a subset. Because the focus shifted to community, so we had to design a summit where the community itself were invited to the summit room to design the future, not just the health experts. The summit room was a powerful event for everyone who attended and led to breakthrough innovation and new collaborations, commitments, and partnerships between the health experts and the communities they served as partners now. A summit room is not a talk fest or a consultative group. They are live labs creating a high-level design of the future from the positive core. On the summit day, participants are organized into table groups and 4 conversations take place over the course of a day or 2 days even. The 4 conversations: discover, dream, design, and deliver. They're known as the 4D. The discover conversation looks to uncover through storytelling what are the themes around the best of continuity, what we want to take forward into the future. I call that our adaptive DNA code. We call this the positive core or code. If we want people to take the journey into the future with us, it's really important they take the past with us. If they take the past, it should be the best of the past. These become the threads of continuity. We disrupt from continuity. People will embrace change and innovation from positive disruption, but not change around significant loss or lack of recognition of history, tradition, and story. In the Appreciative Inquiry, the anticipatory principle says that images or pictures inspire action. That's why we move into dream after discover. We ask participants to reimagine a future story where the best to date becomes the normal experience. But not only does the best become the norm, but we take the time to imagine what's possible if we dare to dream and imagine what's possible. And this leads to innovation, which is the reconfiguration of strengths. It also leads to an opportunity to bring in the technology at that point to say, okay, now we have this future vision. How can the tech enable us to get there? That's the right order, not the other way around. We don't start with the tech. What if we created a conversation where every person was given the equity and the opportunity to share their story of the future, not just a few? What if we saw the practice of inclusion and diversity at scale, such that we tapped into an abundance of creativity, designs, talent, and passions around the future? Let me share a personal story to bring us down through the backstraight of this video. I was asked to work with CEO Alan to facilitate an Appreciative Inquiry Summit for the Mushroom Farm. Alan had been brought up to see his staff as workers. In the markets there, workers are used, basically, they're seen as hands, as assets in the balance sheet. He did not see them as change makers, as fellow co-change makers of the future at that point. Alan engaged his workers with their hands, but asked them to leave their heads, the imaginative bits, and their hearts in the locker rooms each morning. I was due to hook up with Alan to generate an affirmative topic for a summit we were doing the next Saturday at the mushroom farm. Alan called me in a panic. The market price of his beautiful mushrooms had dropped by 25% overnight in a price war, and he was distraught. As we talked, he said how important Saturday's summit was now because he could get his guys to take responsibility, not just him, for taking out cost. So the affirmative topic would be all about cost. But Appreciative Inquiry is a summit for growth, not survival. Yes, we talk about cost. Yes, we talk about efficiency. All those things are given, but there's a time for them. It's not at the start. An affirmative topic is about what gives life and light to human systems and organizations at their very best, and how to extend life and light at scale to grow and flourish. I said to Alan, in your wildest imagination, you have dreamed about your mushrooms making a real difference in the world at some point, haven't you? Haven't you dreamed about this? What is this dream? And I paused and waited. And he came back to me and said, you know what? He said, and it took a bit of time to get this out. He said, Alan, me and my wife have this real concern for the rising obesity levels of Aussie kids. And we thought if only we could engage the kids to eat mushrooms and more veggies, it would make a difference to their well-being. He also said it would be a great business benefit in creating a new market, because we're creating a new market with the kids and their mums and dads. But his real concern was the kids' well-being. He then said, this would be my true legacy. And I went, wow. And suddenly something shifted in our conversation. 6 days later, in a growing room on a cold Saturday morning at the mushroom farm, Alan got up and shared his vision for the future, the why of the summit, with all 60 of his staff. Alan shared his passion for the health of Australia's young kids. He shared the business challenge, but instead of focusing on cost and survival, he talked about a vision for reaching a generation of young kids with the message of healthy eating and the tools to do it. He said that he didn't know how to do this, but it would need to be something new. And he wanted everyone to be involved in the room, to come together, to contribute, and to come up with what this future could look like. More sophisticated people call this transformation. The summit split into table groups. In these groups were a mix of owners and scientific officers and managers and accountants and IT guys and marketers and growers and techies, female Thai university student mushroom pickers, cleaners, and young Somali refugee men who worked in the compost farm. They came together as equals, as partners, as change makers together. We encouraged the table groups to imagine a future story where Alan's call to summit became a reality for the future. One table group, who were the most ethnically, hierarchically inclusive and role diverse group in the summit, came back and presented. What they shared changed the direction of the farm forever. 6 of them got up as a group. The scientific officer went first and said, "We will be the first in the world to produce coloured mushroom growing kits. These kits are in the schools and the kids are crazy about them. The kids are growing different coloured mushrooms," and there was a cheer in the room. One of the guys said, from the audience, he said, "Is that possible?" He said, "I've always wanted to do it." One of the Somali farm hands, the African guys, got up and said, and he felt a confidence to be able to share this as an equal, and said, "And we are collaborating with one of Australia's leading chefs, and she are creating mushroom recipes designed for kids to cook their own meals." Then the young female Thai picker could contain herself no longer and said, "We now have mushroom mobile digital app. And we've grown an online community of 50,000 kids, and we're using analytics and data from these conversations to help us to keep growing. We are learning together as a community. We're using data to grow. Wow." Finally, the accountant yelled out, "And we have created a whole new market for us and set up our own market price." And everybody in the room cheered. That's an Appreciative Inquiry Summit Room experience. That's transformation. Why don't you give it a go, as you say in Australia? Please feel free to reach out for a call. Cheers. Have a great day. Bye.